One of the biggest problems we face as a society, as a country, as a global population, and even as a race or species is the truth. The truth is hard to come by. Why? A myriad of reasons. Memory? We rely so much on our memories, but they can be inaccurate or faulty. Forgetting? On purpose sometimes. Nostalgia? It just feels better to remember this version than the truth. History revising for less than honorable agendas? Definitions and semantics? And of course, that old reliable lies. Blatant lies. Get in the way, obscure, obfuscate the truth. And so major decisions on all kinds of levels are based on false assumptions and lies. Yet the truth is accessible, but we don't demand it enough. We are okay with less than the truth, and as the world slips away, that seems like a terrible, tragic, unreturnable, irredeemable mistake. For instance, the truth of Trump's term in office has been papered over with forgetfulness, revisionism, and of course, outright lies. The members of the Trump cult, like any cult, hypnotized and finding a sense of community within that cult, refuse to believe anything but this alternative reality. But the rest of us don't have to. The majority of us don't have to, and shouldn't. The Trump cult has all the earmarks of a cult. They wear the same clothes, the t-shirt with rude messages that they justify despite being against any obscenity shouted by you. The red hats, the altered American flags, even though they want you to respect the flag. They parrot the same false ideas. They are purposefully ignorant and uninformed of anything outside that cloistered environment. They in fact don't want to hear it, even at the expense of alienating family and friends, which is one of the cult's aims, dividing and separating people, making members feel superior just because they belong to the cult. And they unswervingly, faithfully worship a leader, no matter how corrupt and hypocritical and dishonest. It doesn't matter if it's the Hare Krishnas, the Scientologists, or the Heaven's Gate group that committed mass suicide. The only difference between the Trump cult and these groups is that they are armed and dangerous and violent. If Trump asked these people, told them that things would be better if they committed mass suicide, do you think they would do it? More likely mass murder, like the sarin attack by that Japanese cult Shinrikyo. The Trump cult lives in a world of cognitive dissonance. He has told them not to believe what they see with their own eyes when it comes to him, and they don't. It's quite a trick, but we've learned that many people are easily susceptible to the cult mentality. Watch any video by Jordan Klepper or The Big Liars. Reasonable people should be perhaps first amused, but then shocked and outraged by the proudly ignorant answers to simple questions they elicit. Is there anything more dangerous than an ignorant, opinionated person? Well, I guess an ignorant, opinionated person with a gun. And in case you're not in the cult, but because you may be overwhelmed by your reality today, here are just a few of Trump's discredited boasts, claims, and lies you may have forgotten, some of which he owns still to this day, and some he denies ever saying, despite proof to the contrary, and the truth of which the Trump cult could care less about or simply believes and accepts. Here are the greatest hits. Good memories. Let's start with day one, when he insisted that he had the largest audience for his inauguration ever. Remember when he insisted that no matter what he does, he could pardon himself? I guess the deep state made him say that. How about when he called American soldiers losers and suckers? Remember when he tried to bribe Zelensky? Let's remember, he was impeached for this, and then again for inciting the insurrection on January 6th. Both times, the Republican-led Trump cult Senate acquitted him despite a mountain of evidence. You may not remember that on the January 6th charges, he was only acquitted by 10 votes. That's how close he came to being found guilty. As far as COVID, 2 words: hydroxychloroquine and bleach. Remember when he defended the Confederate flag? They were apparently able to record the sound of Lincoln spinning in his grave. And though he continues to deny it, he was found guilty of sexual assault, and Jean Carroll was awarded over $80 million in damages. And though he denied it, he was also found guilty of 34 counts in the Stormy Daniels hush money trial. How about this priceless quote? "Proud Boys stand back and stand by." He still insists he won the 2020 election and continued to try to overturn the results. That might be his biggest lie. You can't be in the Trump cult unless you believe that one. Remember his famous tweet? "Big protest in DC on January 6th. Be there, will be wild." Did you remember that many people were killed and injured and over 1,000 arrested because of his lies about the election result and his inciting the insurrection, for which he was indicted on 4 felony counts, though the Trump cult judges in the Supreme Court seem intent on granting him immunity for this, as well as the Stormy Daniels hush money verdict and any other crimes like the classified files case, which may never go to trial. Remember, these are the same judges who overturned Roe v. Wade. And let's not forget, he threatened to hang Mike Pence. You get the idea. I'm not interested in telling you who to vote for. You could vote for Biden or whoever replaces him. You could vote for Cornel West or the Green Party candidate or RFK Jr. He's got a small cult himself. Hard to tell if it's growing or shrinking. Things are going to continue to fall apart no matter who's president. It's really more a question of speed of descent. All I'm saying is, if you consider yourself sane, if you believe you possess a strong, independent mind and aren't susceptible to the wiles of a cult, then demand the truth, examine it carefully, and make your decision. Remember, the truth is hard to come by. Nobody who hides the truth wants to hand it out like candy. You have to take it. Not stealing candy from a baby, more like stealing candy from a heavily armed adult.